KNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Anytime. Anytime. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Hannegriff.
Good afternoon and welcome to Anytime 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Mario Jerez and Taylor Sharp. Scott Rabelais with us here in about 15 minutes. We got a lot to get to today, but we start today with just such a sad story about a former LSU player that passed away this morning. Wayne Sims, who played for Dale Brown's teams from 1987 to 1991, passed away this morning at the age of 54. His passing comes just 5 years after the shooting death of his son, Wade Sims, who was killed in 2018 at the age of only 20. Wayne Sims entered LSU just before I did, so I was in the student section for most of and just about all of his career. Wayne Sims was a really good basketball player for those Dale Brown teams, all of which made the tournament and one of which made a Southeastern Conference won a Southeastern Conference championship in 1991. What I remember about Wade Sims was he was one of the most dependable players that came through when Dale was there. If you needed, he had a really, really smooth shot from the elbow. He shot nearly 50% for his career, and he wasn't a guy, even though he was a bigger player, he wasn't a guy that was a back to the basket, which was common for the time, player. He did get a lot of points in the paint, but he also made a lot of shots just right there from about 12 to 16 feet, and he was really, really good at getting in there to get the tough rebounds. When he was a freshman, he was a vital player that came off the bench and averaged about 10 and 5 for LSU, but he became a starter as a sophomore. That freshman team, if you're old-time LSU basketball fans, you'll remember that was a team that played Georgetown in the NCAA tournament and lost on the buzzer beater when Charles Smith hit about a 30-footer off the glass. I think that game was in Connecticut, but that was Wayne Sims' freshman year. He became a starter the next year on what was Chris Jackson, now Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Chris Jackson's freshman year, when Chris Jackson took the NCAA by storm and averaged 30 points a game. Wayne Sims on that team was the guy that did a lot of the dirty work. Ricky Blanton was on that team, but Wayne Sims was one of the guys that they counted on down low, and he averaged almost 8 rebounds a game that year to go along. Again, with he averaged 13 and 7 and 7.6 that year as kind of an enforcer for LSU. Wayne was about 6'6", 6'7", and he probably played at somewhere around 240 pounds. He was very, very difficult to move off the block. He was just a really, really solid player. Make a shot, he'd get fouled, go to free throw line. He made most of his free throws, and that team was the one that played UTEP in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and that team featured a young Tim Hardaway, who would obviously go on to a long career in the NBA, and they lost that game. Sims' third year in 1990 was the Chris Stanley Shaquille team. And what I remember, I spent that entire season in the stands. We didn't miss a game. And what I remember about that year was that that Stanley and Shaquille spent most of the year in foul trouble, but Wayne didn't. Every time one of the big guys had to go to the bench, Wayne picked up the minutes. So he ended up playing about as many minutes as either of the superstars, because you could count on Wayne to go in there, make a shot, get a rebound, get to the free throw line, make his free throws, and not foul out. The two big guys were still learning that when they were freshmen. And then, of course, his final year after Kristen Stanley had left, Shaquille was a sophomore. That was the year that the first year he was a National Player of the Year. Shaquille was. Wayne was a starter on that team too, and was just a very, very important part of what they did. Wayne Sims had to endure a tragedy that no parent should have to endure back in 2018 when his son Wade at a party or whatever over on the Southern University campus was shot and killed. We saw the mourning that the team went through. Will Wade was the coach here, and the ceremonies and for Wayne and his wife Faye, who I don't have the words to say anything to Faye Sims today. She buried her 20-year-old son in 2018, and now she's lost her husband at the age of 54 inside of about a 5-year period. I don't know what to say to her. I can't imagine. Whatever is going on in your life today, and a show planned, and we're going to do the show, but I just I don't really feel like a player going to a press conference to say he doesn't feel like playing, which was going to be the lead today, just doesn't feel like something that I can get as passionate about today as maybe I need to, because here's something that's really important and really sad, and a family that's got a real tragedy to go to it. And maybe maybe I'm a little bit more close to the city. I didn't know Wayne Sims. Let me be perfectly honest. I met him a handful of times, but I didn't know him. I did not have a personal relationship with him. But I was in school with him at the same time. I watched him play a lot of basketball. I watched his son play basketball. I watched that family go through very publicly like I said, a tragedy that no family, no parent should ever have to go through. And now his wife's got to go through it again. My heart goes out to her, to Faye, and to that entire family, because it's just, that's not something that you should ever have to endure. Again, I'll remember Wayne Sims as a terrific basketball player at LSU for the basketball part of it, and I'll think I'll just think that what he and his wife had to go through, they went through in a very public manner, because it was a very high profile situation, and they were thrust out into the public to have to mourn in a way that you shouldn't have to mourn because of his celebrity, his son's celebrity, here locally celebrities, that should have been a very private thing. And I remember thinking that the family had handled it so well, something that nobody else, should have to go through. They handled it in a way that was incredibly dignified. And now Faye Sims is going to have to go through, another tragedy in her life. It's a very sad day. I'm sorry. It's just a very, very sad day for LSU athletics, for the Baton Rouge community, for the Sims family, and my heart goes out to them. We'll take a break. We'll start the show when we come back. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench. Hanny Time. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. reliefwindows.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off.
Jimmy out and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson. That's Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Double podcast will drop later this afternoon. Our Baseball at the Box preview on Kentucky, presented by Napa Auto Parts, available to you in the mid part of the afternoon, as well as the Hannycast, which I got plenty to say about Zion Williamson. It's just that we had to change the open today. So we bring on Scott Rabelais from the Advocate. Scott, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, Charles. Thanks for having me as always. I wish there was better things to talk about. But,
yeah. And you know, and I want to talk to you about the Masters, because I know you spent the week there, and we're going to get to that. But you were covering LSU basketball when Wayne Sims was there. He was a integral part of 4 pretty successful teams. What do you remember about him?
Yeah, he was not a superstar. You know, I mean, he played with superstars, as you mentioned, like Chris and Shaquille and Stanley Roberts. But he was one of those players you have to make a team work. And he was always seemed like he was always solid, always going to get in there and get your points and get your rebounds and play solidly. I seem to remember he had a very feathery jump shot.
Yes.
He just had a very nice touch around the basket. They kind of belied the fact that he kind of reminds you of Charles Barkley, but just someone who was always just a solid contributor. And you knew you were going to get a good game out of Wayne Sims, and he was just always going to be there for you, and not be too up and down as a performer. So I always respected that. He was always from that era. He was one of the players I enjoyed watching. And I was a student, and then transitioning to working professionally. But as a student working with the Reveille, I went to that game in Hartford when they lost to Georgetown, and I can remember hitting him some of those floaters, and of course I certainly remember Charles Smith making in that 3-pointer to beat him. But yeah, he was someone that you just were left with a great impression of, and I'm just I'm just sad today because there's more than that family should have to endure, that they've gone through the last few years.
He was the word I would use. He's extremely dependable. He played every game. He was rarely in foul trouble. I don't ever remember him being injured for any amount of time. I just remember you looked out there for 4 straight years, and there was Wayne. He was banging on somebody. He's getting a rebound. He was making a free throw. He was making a shot from the elbow. He was running the floor. He was never somebody who demanded the ball, but you left him open. He was going to make it. You were actually at that game against Georgetown?
I was.
Okay.
I was a student. I paid my way to go.
It was in Hartford, Connecticut, right?
It was the Hartford Civic Center. Yep, sure was.
You got on a plane and went to Hartford, Connecticut as a student to watch LSU basketball?
I did.
Nice, nice. I mean, that's awesome.
2 years earlier, they'd been in the Final Four, and I was at all those games. And the year after that, they were in. I went to Chicago for the first 2 rounds of the tournament, and then I didn't go to the elite. I did not go to the regional in Cincinnati when they lost to Indiana. But I was a sports center. I was like, damn it, I'm sending myself.
Right.
I'm sending myself wherever they go, and it was a cool trip. Went to New York City and all these things. So yeah, it was cool. But dependable is an excellent word to describe Wayne. Career average 9.5 points, 5.2 rebounds, 1.3 blocks a game. Kind of like somebody like LaDasia Williams on this year's LSU women's team. Not the superstar, but going to give you a good steady game and some points, some rebounds, and going to be someone dependable for you. And they could count on for 4 years. And that's not always an easy thing to find. Basketball players you can count on, Charles. An oblique Zion Williamson reference there. Williamson reference.
Yeah, remind me that game against Georgetown when Smith hit the shot, he had somebody in his face, and I think it was Bernard Woodside, but it might have been Oliver Brown. You remember? Because he hit the shot with somebody right up on him.
He did. I can't remember. I'm thinking if I had to guess, I would say Woodside.
I think it was Woodside. Yeah, who was a really, really good defender on that team. Did you make it to Tucson the next year when Tim Hardaway they played against that?
No, I was covering high schools for the State Times, our afternoon paper by then. So no, that was where I was getting my start. Working them professionally. No, I did not. Unfortunately,
some of the superstars that they played against in those years. We were talking the other day about Clarence Weatherspoon. He was a great player at Southern Miss. The first game of the Chris Stanley Shaquille era, they played against Southern Miss. It was a preseason NIT game in the Assembly Center because they were playing the first couple of rounds on campus, and they played Southern Miss, and they beat them, but Weatherspoon had an unbelievable game. Wayne Sims was on the floor that night too, along Weatherspoon, who played in the NBA for probably 10 years, and Stanley and Chris and Shaquille. Man, those were some times. I just very, 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 very sad about the passing of Wayne Sims. All right, let's try to segue if we can, because you spent the week at Augusta last week. You watched John Rahm fight the elements and Brooks Koepka and everything off to win the tournament. Scott, we had Tiger making the cut but not being able to finish. We had basically a washout on Saturday and almost double golf on Sunday. We had 3 trees fall in a really scary, but thankfully nobody was hurt incident. So I'm going to let you pick up from wherever you think was the biggest storylines this week at the Masters.
Well, first of all, coming into the tournament, as we talked about last week, the current big three, McIlroy, Rahm, and Scheffler were far and away the favorites, and one of them won. And of the three, the one who seemed to be on the worst form coming into the Masters was John Rahm. But John Rahm is such a tremendous talent and a tremendous player. If you didn't read my column yesterday, Monday, please go back and read it. Phil Mickelson was tremendously gracious in defeat and had a lot of wonderful things to say about John Rahm. He played for Phil's brother, Tim, at Arizona State. and in college, and he's just an immense talent. And the fourth Spanish player to win the Masters behind Seve Ballesteros, Jose Maria Olazabal, and Sergio Garcia. And I think he's got a ways to go to still catch Seve, who won 5 majors, 2 Masters, and 3 British Opens. But I think Rahm will go down as the best of them eventually. He's the first European to hold the U.S. Open and Masters titles in a career. And won the Zurich Classic 4 years ago with Ryan Palmer. He's just an immense talent, and when he puts it together, he's a great player. Of course, the underlying storyline to me is the backdrop of the whole Live Golf versus PGA Tour thing. Some people are calling this a victory for Live Golf. Some people are saying somebody had a great line. It wasn't my line. Said Brooks Koepka and Greg Norman could compare notes on blowing a big 54-hole lead at the Masters, which is painful, but is true. And, of course, a lot of people are saying if it was a 54-hole tournament like on Live, maybe Brooks would have won, but he didn't. But I don't think it's a victory for either side, really. I think there's a lot more time to tell, but I'm personally not disappointed that a PGA Tour stalwart and someone who is looked like he's going to stick with the PGA Tour won as compared to a guy from Live Golf because, I hope the whole Live Golf thing crumbles and falls.
Well, but Scott, do the people that, the real aficionados of golf, whether they be PGA Tour officials, tournament officials, national media that follow the game every week, did they really think that the Live golfers were not capable of stringing 72 holes together? I mean, was that really a thing? We've seen Brooks Koepka win 4 majors. Now Phil was out of left field because he's 52 years old, and you don't expect him to go out and shoot 65. But do they really think that that Patrick Reed couldn't go out and shoot 72 holes, or Koepka couldn't go out and shoot 72 holes, or Dustin Johnson? I know he didn't have a very good tournament this week, but that could have just as easily happened to a PGA Tour guy. Dustin Johnson didn't make the
McIlroy didn't make the cut.
McIlroy didn't make the cut. Thank you. There were all kind of PGA Tour guys that didn't make the cut. So was that really a thing that the Live guys can't play 72 holes anymore?
No, certainly not. But Paul McGinley, who's on the Golf Channel, made this assertion, and it's just his opinion, that as time goes on, the Live guys are going to find it harder to be sharp for the majors as you want to be. You can certainly make the argument, and Cam Smith, who plays on the PGA, who plays on the Live Tour, who won the British Open last year, he admitted our tournaments are not as good, depth-wise as the PGA Tour events. He actually said it. And he was the only player, by the way, who was invited to the pre-tournament press conferences in the press building, which I thought was interesting. And none of the featured groups on Masters.com were Live guys, included Live guys. So it kind of tells you where their allegiances subtly lie. But yeah, it's going to be harder for those guys to be sharp as they need to be to win a major like the Masters. Brooks Koepka won the Live tournament in Orlando the week before the Masters. And so you can say he was on good form, and he for the most part, he looks like the Brooks of old. But it's just going to be a little harder, and it's certainly going to be harder for a lot of these guys to qualify if they don't start getting world ranking points for playing on the Live Tour.
Well, see, Scott, okay, I don't get that, not putting them in featured groups, not inviting them to the press conference and all that. Listen, I'm no big fan of the Live Tour, but either invite them or don't invite them. If you want to, don't invite them and then ignore them, okay? I didn't see Phil Mickelson play very much on Sunday on television. If this had been 2 years ago and a 50-year-old Phil Mickelson still on the PGA Tour had been making a charge on Sunday, they might have shown him more than Rahm. So it just seems petty to me. If you don't want them there, don't invite them there. Perfectly legitimate response to what they did. But if you're going to invite them and just pretend like they're not there, to me, that's kind of petty.
Well, clearly there was some animus towards the Live Golf thing. They didn't invite Greg Norman. Fred Ridley.
That's a whole different thing. That Norman is a whole different kettle of fish. He doesn't play anymore, and he's the head of this thing.
That's true, but they make a practice of inviting former former champions, major champions, are invited to the Masters just ceremonially. Brody Alexander, who won the U.S. Amateur when he was the LSU golf coach in 1986, gets 2 tickets to the Masters every year. And he was on the list on the pairing sheet of invited, major champions. Jerry Pate, Hale I saw Hale Irwin there, the 3-time U.S. Open champion. Saw him outside the clubhouse. So, but yeah, I mean, they were stuck in this no man's land this year of, we had these qualifications set. The Live Tour came along, and we didn't want to disinvite them. Certainly, they had six past Masters champions of the 18 are in the field, and they're invited to play till they're 65. And there were 12 others who qualified on world ranking points or by winning other majors like Cam Smith or Bryson DeChambeau, and they were invited that way. So they didn't want to do it, and they said, here's our qualifications for 2024, and it wasn't significantly altered, but they are beholden to the world ranking points, and top 50 at the end of the calendar year and top 50 going into the Masters, and of course if you win an event on the PGA Tour in the calendar year in between, except for the Zurich, which is a team event, you get in, and maybe a couple other ones. So it's definitely weighted against those guys, but they don't want to go all in and say we're disinvite. They don't want to disinvite former champions. They don't want to disinvite Dustin Johnson. They don't want to disinvite Patrick Reed. But it's a difficult situation for them to be in, and they have not ruled out the fact that it might change in the future.
Well, I don't know anybody that knows exactly what this is going to look like a year from now. So for the time being, if you're going to invite them, act like they're there. And I've got no problem with Fred Ridley coming on television and saying, no, we didn't invite Greg Norman. And if they ask him why, say, because we don't like him. He's the one that started all of this, okay? I'm not inviting the Alabama coach to the LSU football banquet, okay? We don't like you are by definition our opponent now. Now the rest of these guys, it would be a lot stickier situation if Norman had actually won a Masters.
Well, very much so. If
so
Larry Mize hadn't chipped in on him in '87, for example, yeah.
Or if he hadn't collapsed in '96, I get it. But at this point, perfectly fine to say, no, you went out and spearheaded a rival tour that is designed to hurt us. No, we're not going to invite you here for, a pimento cheese sandwich and a beer. Sorry. No, just you stay away. Let's talk about Sam Burns for a second. Came out, man, the first 3 holes, birdie, eagle, birdie. And you had 3 good rounds and 1 really tough round. I thought it was a really good showing for somebody only shooting his, 3rd through 6th rounds at the Masters in competition. I thought it was a nice step forward in his career. Last year, didn't make the cut. This year makes the cut, not in contention, but didn't play horribly either. I think this was a nice spot in Sam's progression. I know he was disappointed in the overall score, but I thought it was a really nice showing.
Yeah, Sam's an interesting case. It was overall, it was progress for him. Sam's an interesting case because when he started on the PGA Tour, it took him a while to qualify for a lot of the majors. You have to earn status through your world ranking points, and he finally made it in the top 50, and he got there, or with a win. A win gets you in the PGA. A win gets you in the Masters on the PGA Tour. And he tied for 29th. He still has not had anything better than a tie for 20th in a major. That was at last year's PGA Championship. So I was talking to him after the round Sunday. I sensed some of that frustration in him, like, it's time for me to contend. He shares a house at the Masters with Scotty Scheffler. So he's got somebody who's like, and they're the same age, and at talent level, I would put Sam Burns' talent level up there with a lot of those 20-somethings. He's number 10 in the world this week. His world ranking actually went up 1 notch, so he's back in the world top 10. So he's a tremendous player, and I think he has everything you need to win a major. But he's got to get in contention, and I think he had his fingers. He had one hand on contention this week, and it kind of slipped away. He couldn't avoid the big numbers. In the 3rd round, he shot 78. He had 2 doubles and a triple on 18. Drove in a bush on 18, pitched out, hit short, hit in the bunker. It was a mess. I saw him on the 3rd hole in the 3rd round. hit under a tree, hit a tree, hit short. You got to avoid the big numbers, obviously, which Augusta is one of those courses where you can score well if you hit it well, but if you hit it bad, yeah, you can really have a big number. So there's still some growth there that needs to happen, and I'm sure he's a little impatient for it to happen, but it could happen any time. If he went on to win a major this year, one of the other three, it wouldn't shock me at all. But he needs to get in contention and get in that fire and have that experience. And once he does, as it was maybe for a Phil Mickelson back in the day, who went forever without finally winning a major until he finally won the Masters in 2004, it might be the start of something big for Sam Burns.
Rab, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Charlie.
Scott Rabalais from The Advocate. We'll take a break. First class, second class, no class when we return. Anytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Anytime.
Infinity of Baton Rouge right now offering you cash for your vehicle. Come in with a vehicle in 15 minutes. They will have a quote for you. At that point, if you want to sell your vehicle straight out, they will buy your vehicle. If you'd like to trade it in on another model, they will do that for you as well. If you just want to have the information, there will be no pressure to buy at that point. Certified pre-owned program at Infinity of Baton Rouge, which we got into with another vehicle just a short period of time ago, offers you enormous benefits. First of all, the inspections that they've been through have these vehicles back up to code, so much so that they're going to back them with a 100,000-mile warranty, 1 year of prepaid maintenance, and they're going to give you a courtesy call when you bring your vehicle in to be serviced, and roadside assistance is included in the price. Large inventory right now. This is a very comfortable buying process. When you talk about the age of the vehicle, the mileage of the vehicle, the price of the vehicle, they're going to fit it exactly to you, exactly what they did for us. The transparency in pricing is invaluable when you're going through the buying process, in my opinion. So check it out yourself. On Airline Highway at Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back. Join us on Saturday, April 22nd at the Ochsner Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown presented by Ochsner. Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com. All right.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how
for live play-by-play this weekend when the Yankees host the Twins Saturday at noon and Sunday the Astros host the Rangers at 6 p.m. Plus the Cavs host the Knicks Saturday at 5 p.m. in the NBA playoffs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hanny Time. First class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
That no man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
My life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
Okay, first class, I'm going to kind of go quick because we got some things I wanted to get to. Tampa Bay Rays open up 11-0 on the season. They are plus 63 runs. I appreciate good baseball. This is as good as it gets. They have covered the run line in 10 out of 11 games. If you scored 63 more runs in 11 games, you're doing something right. And they hammered Boston again last night. Right now, listen, it's 162 games. I get all of that, but through 11 games, man, that's about as good as it gets. The Rays are in first class. Second class, I thought this was funny. I really like creativity, and so and obviously I've called a lot of baseball games in my life. So this was Dan Hasty. He is an announcer for the Single-A Western Michigan Whitecaps. He was calling a game this weekend and decided to call it like, well, he was at the Masters. Listen in.
It's about 30 kilometers from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. Right now looking at a pitch from about 60 feet, 6 inches.
They're actually playing baseball while he's doing.
No idea how that one stayed out.
This is a ball off the wall.
He struggled a lot in 2022 with his control.
A fine hit, deep to left center. Off the wall. Lucas Dunn into second base. Exquisite.
Okay. I admire, for somebody that has done as many different broadcasts, I appreciate any time when you come up with something that nobody's ever done before. That's pretty good. It's funny if you watch it and you watch their reactions, because they're two minor league baseball announcers who are doing a Class A baseball game, one of 100 and whatever that they're going to do or whatever, and so they just put it to the Masters music. Maybe it doesn't translate in 30 seconds as funny as I found it anyway. I wanted to do the no class to a game between the Chattanooga Lookouts and the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Okay, because originally in the show today I planned to just do the whole Zion thing in the first segment, and then I had to redo that, so I had to change course. So Zion is obviously no class this week, but a little special shout out to the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Chattanooga on Saturday beat the Rocket City Trash Pandas 7-5. Game just like any other, right? This was in Madison, Alabama. Here's the line score. Chattanooga Lookouts, 7 runs on no hits and no errors. Rocket City Trash Pandas, what a name, huh? 5 runs on 6 hits and an error. Did you catch that? The Chattanooga Lookouts, 7 runs on no hits and no errors. This is very hard to do, right? So they're going to the 7th innings, two 7-inning games in a doubleheader, and the Trash Pandas have a 3-0 lead. They put in Ben Joyce. Remember Ben Joyce? He pitched at Tennessee, throws real hard. Okay, he goes in. This is how you score 7 runs with no hits. Walk, pop up, out. Walk, strikeout. 2 outs now. walk, that pushed in a run. Fly ball to center field, dropped. That's 3 runs scored. They take Joyce out of the game. They bring in Eric Torres. He hits 3 guys in a row. That brings in another run. Then a 4-pitch walk. Then a wild pitch. Then he hits another guy. That's how you score 7 runs with no hits. Walks will just destroy a baseball team, I'll tell you. So the Rocket City Trash Pandas are no class. It was supposed to be humorous, okay? I had a whole thing in my head about, we'll do the serious stuff with Zion. We'll do the Rays. We'll do the Augusta thing. Everybody will get a laugh. And, well, that plan just didn't work out today. So now I got to get to Zion, who had – friends, I've been doing this for a very long time. I have been to more press conferences than I can count in virtually every sport. Been at them live, watched them on feeds, gotten transcripts there. Never have I seen somebody go in and just absolutely destroy everything in a press conference the way I saw Zion Williamson do this thing yesterday. I was at the Johnny Jones press conference when he basically had to admit Ben Simmons doesn't want us to play in the NIT. That was an all-timer. I was at the press conference when Les Miles walked in after they had carried him off the field when he was due to be fired, and have Joe Oliva come in and say, well, the season's over now. We made a decision. Les Miles is going to be the coach. That one was all-time ridiculous. I was at Dale Brown Kiss My Mistletoe. I was at Nick Saban Stick It in Your Depth Chart. I wasn't there yesterday, but I saw it. I heard this. I'll play. Well, play it, Mario.
Physically, I'm fine. Now it's just a matter of when I feel like Zion. I know the atmosphere I'd be entering based off like the playoff experience. So now it's just a matter of when I feel like Zion.
How about when I feel like it? That's what he said. I'll play when I feel like it. I've been cleared medically. I'll play when I feel like it. That's what I heard. When I feel like Zion. When I feel like it. I don't feel like it. What the terrible, one of 100 terrible things in this deal is that I was not for putting him back in for playoff basketball with his first action back. I thought that was an invitation to get him hurt. And so if you've been out this long, well, then you're putting him back into a playoff situation was just an invitation for disaster. So I actually wasn't for that. But my question is, how long has he been cleared? February, March, April, last week, week before? How long has he been cleared? How long has he just not felt like playing? Because this is the first time we heard from him in a while. And I'll be the first one to say, I think we needed to hear from Zion Williamson. I'm sure people in the front office, no, I'm not sure. I know for a fact people in the front office are saying, please, if it's not too much trouble, could you say something? Boy, they regret that. I can't believe he said that. Went out there and said, I'm going to play when I feel like Zion. That just says, hey, man, look, I can't be bothered with this. He says it's frustrating. No kidding.
I mean, it sucks. I don't know how else to say it. It just sucks. I love this game. I say it over and over. For those people that think that I just want to sit on the sideline just to sit over there, I don't know why people think that. But, nah, it sucks. I just want to be playing basketball for real.
Okay, I'm one of those people now. I tried for a long time. I got a very good friend of mine. He knows basketball. He played basketball in college. He's been telling me for a long time that Zion Williamson is a bust. And I kept saying, no, he's hurt. Okay? He wants to play. It's just, he's got a body type and the injuries. I was wrong. I had to go apologize to the guy. No. I'm one of those people that don't think that thinks that you want to sit on the sideline. Here's why, okay? You say you love basketball. If you love basketball, loving basketball and being able to play basketball at the highest level takes a level of commitment, and it takes a level of conditioning. If you really love basketball and you really wanted to play, you'd be in better shape, because that's what's really at the heart of all this. he may have been medically cleared with the hamstring, but there is no way. You saw him yesterday. There is no way that guy is in anything remotely resembling basketball shape. And the Pelicans know if they run him back out there, he's going to get hurt again. And you're going to have to start this whole process over again. The earliest Zion Williamson is going to play in a Pelicans uniform is October, and I doubt seriously that happens. Because yesterday was, in my opinion, the end. The general manager had to go out and make a statement on Friday, which says basically, well, it's kind of up to him. And then a few days later, the player comes out and says, yeah, it's up to me. I've been cleared. I'll play when I feel like it. We're done. We're done at that point. I'm sure his teammates don't want to come out and trash the guy. But if you go out there and say, yes, there's nothing physically injuring me to hold me back, I just don't want to play. Okay. Well, then you don't have to. You don't want to play, you don't have to play. Don't tell me you want to play. If you wanted to play, you would show up in shape. Everybody else showed. Jose Alvarado's been out for what? A month and a half now? Something along those lines?
Yeah, around the time
Zion.
Got
a broken leg, right? He's got a broken bone in his leg, okay? And there's Alvarado saying, hey, look, he's on social media. He's saying, hey, man, look, I'm resuming the basketball activities. If we get past the play-in round, I want to be there next week. I don't get that out of Zion. What I get out of Zion is I'll play when I feel like it. Oh, that check showing up every week, though. That money's all guaranteed. It's a hell of a spot for the Pelicans to just have a guy go out in front of everybody and just flat out quit on you. Quit on his teammates, quit on the coaches, quit on the fans, quit on the front office. Quit. I don't want to play because I don't feel like it. There's nothing worse, man. There's nothing worse. And look, Kyrie Irving is about as talented a basketball player as there is on the planet, okay? He's just perennially unhappy for whatever reason it is. But when Kyrie shows up, Kyrie plays. And Kyrie's in shape. Now, he may not play winning basketball team-wise, but the guy plays, okay? Say what you want about, the great players demanding the ball and having egos and all that stuff. When Kobe Bryant said, I want the ball, it's because Kobe went out and worked his ass off every single day to make sure he was as good as he could be. And Jordan did that. David Robinson did that. And, any number of, Hakeem Olajuwon did that. Hell, even when Charles Barkley fell out of shape, he went out there and played through it. This guy just don't want to play. He doesn't want to play from a standpoint of preparing himself to play. And when he gets himself in that position, when he finally gets himself to where he's healthy enough to play, he doesn't want to play. It's a lot like Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is healthy and was many times healthy enough to play. Just didn't want to play. They don't want to play. And I don't know what you do if you're the Pelicans, because you can't trade him and you can't cut him, and this makes it very, very difficult to keep him. Walking that disaster yesterday back, I don't know how you come back and look your teammates in the face. I don't know how you come back and look your coach in the face. I have no idea how you do that. Well, I could have helped you guys, but I didn't feel like it. 10-game losing streak, almost fell out of the play-in. I don't feel like it. Why do people think that you want to sit on the sideline? Because you are choosing to sit on the sideline. By your actions, you are choosing to sit on the sideline. You quit on everybody. That's why people think that. That, the epitome of no class. You have the ability, you have been given the contract, you have been given the coaches, you have been given everything that you need to succeed, and you quit. That's why people think that you don't want to play. Take a break. We'll come back, wrap things up. Handy time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny time.
Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. You know, you pick up a bag of Supreme Rice. There's so many different things that you can do with it. So many different things you can pair it with, whether it be a jambalaya, whether it be a red beans, whether it be a gumbo, whether it be an etouffee. You can get it in the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, or the jasmine Supreme Rice. It's going to be the perfect complement to your meal and going to stretch your food dollar at the same time. Very easy to get Supreme Rice at all your AG food stores, all your Walmart neighborhood stores, and your Rouses, wherever you buy rice. Make it Supreme Rice. In addition to getting a great product at a supreme price, see what I did there? You're going to be supporting our Louisiana farmers down in Southwest Louisiana since the 1930s. So pick up Supreme Rice the next time you have a family gathering. For more information and some unique recipes, go to SupremeRice.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Not only did she tell us, but this young lady, stand up. And this young lady
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back. Join us on Saturday, April 22nd at the Oshner Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and Joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown presented by Oshner. Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
All right.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood.
On Thursday's OTB, did the Pelicans manage to survive in advance? Or will they be weeping and gnashing of teeth? And we got a brand new Munchies. Chef Michael Johnson, off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It was a busy show. Didn't even get to LSU's win last night against Tulane. Full podcast, Baseball at the Box, presented by Napa, will drop later this afternoon. It's a preview of the Kentucky series, which starts tomorrow. Didn't really get to talk much about. We had planned to talk a little bit about New Orleans and OKC. I think defending Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the whole key tonight. Willie Green, we got time here for a second. Willie Green on defending SGA.
Got to keep him off the foul line, first and foremost. He's extremely dangerous at drawing fouls, shot fakes, getting guys to reach on him. You got to make his catches tough. He's going to make some shots. He's a heck of a player. He's an all-star for a reason. But everything has to be difficult for him offensively, but then on the defensive end, you got to make him work.
4 games with the two teams this year. The Pels won 3 of them. They were all close. They beat them in November 105-101. They beat them in December 108-105, and they beat them in February 103-100. They lost their most recent game, March 11th, 110-96. The Lakers, who trailed for most of the game last night, moved on with an overtime win against Minnesota. Minnesota had their opportunities. Man, did they have their opportunity. I didn't let myself get sucked in. I kind of figured that they were going to lose. But when Davis fouls Conley with 0.1 seconds to go and Conley makes all 3 free throws to send it to overtime, like, maybe. No, Lakers win in overtime. So if the Pels do win, they're headed back to Minneapolis on Friday night. But they got to win first. Win or the season is over tonight at the Blender. It's a late start at 8:30. Thanks to everybody for participating. For Taylor Sharp, for Mario Jerez, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Big Mike's out in Denham Springs with our Jitterbug lessons continuing tomorrow night. It is Swamp Pop lessons starting at 6 o'clock. Alex Harbert at 7 o'clock on stage. On Friday, Big Mike's birthday bash with lots of great specials and surprises coming. And DJ Apparatus starting at 8 o'clock. On Saturday, Deep Water Rehab on stage at Big Mike's, where you can always get live music. Tonight, Jimmy Odd's Game Time will be there starting at 6 o'clock. We'll be broadcasting from Big Mike's. Happy hour drink prices 3 until 7, Monday through Friday, and all day on Sunday starting at 11 o'clock. Hot ball crawfish every day starting at 11. And, of course, you can always rent Big Mike's out for your private get-togethers, multiple size party rooms available for your private get-togethers, and off-site catering is available. Located right there in the heart of Denham Springs with the Denham Springs Hall of Fame at the front of the restaurant on Aspen Boulevard. Big Mike's, we're kind of a big deal.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you